Right, let's see how this goes. I tried to do it yesterday on my dash cam, but it took me nearly 45 minutes to get 4 fucking videos of 3 minutes off of it. So we'll try it this way instead. I have got in my car. I've opened my window now because it's freaking boiling. Seatbelt. Foot on the clutch. Make sure it's not in gear. Turn on. Excuse the horrible noise it sometimes makes. It's a diesel. It does that. Right, so I'm looking at my mirrors, making sure there's no pedestrians about, making sure there's nothing going to jump out at me, that sort of thing. Put it into first gear. Going to find my bite point, release my handbrake, little bit of gas, come up on the clutch, and off we go. Then I'm going to look both ways. There was nothing coming. Come up to a junction, clutch down, brake. Indicate right, because that's where I'm going. Check nothing's coming, looking both ways, nothing's coming. Find my bite point, off I go. Clutch down into second. Clutch down into third. Come into a junction, clutch down, press on brake, down into first gear. Look both ways, nothing coming, pull up, find bite point, off we go. Clutch down, second gear. Clutch down, third gear. I'm checking my mirrors every time I go to change gear and increase my speed. Clutch down, fourth gear. Checking my mirrors for cyclists, motorcycles, electric scooters, pedestrians and animals. Constantly checking in my mirrors, making sure nothing's behind me. This road is a 40-mile-an-hour road. So I am doing just below 40. I'm going to make sure my position in the road is equal and I'm not too far to the left or too far to the right. Watching out for people coming out of like little junctions like that. There's nothing coming, so I'm continuing on at 40. Making sure I'm centering the road. So I'm still in fourth gear at the moment. I could go up to fifth. But I know just over this bridge, 1, there's a blind drop, and 2, there is a chicane, which means that I have to wait. So I'm coming up over the bridge. As you can see, you can't really see a lot. As you come down over the bridge, I have a cyclist. So I'm looking behind me to the side of me. Am I going to be able to get around him safely? There's nothing behind me and nothing to the side of me, no motorbikes or cyclists. However, he's bumped the curb, so I'm back down to 30, still in fourth gear. As I come down this hill, I know there's a chicane. Chicane blocks off half of the road. If you can see the sign, the big black one has priority, so the person coming the other way has priority. I would need to stop if there was somebody there. I come out around the chicane and then get back central. I'm going down into fourth gear. I'm going to indicate right because I'm going to take the third exit. Come down into second, nothing coming, so I can just go fourth. Still indicating right, indicating left. I come off the roundabout. I've got another chicane where I have not got priority, so I have to wait for them to come through. I'm in third gear, there's nobody coming. I've also got temporary traffic lights, they're green. So I'm going to put my foot down a little bit. I'm into fourth gear. Putting my car back centrally, figuring out what's going on. This car is doing some crazy move, but I still have priority. So I'm going to move over because I have the white sign of my priority. It's 30, so I came to stop then. I came down into second. Going up into third. Maintaining my position, checking my mirrors. I'm at 30, so I'm going to go into fourth. Clutch down and off. I'm into fourth gear. Maintaining my position in the road, checking around me for cyclists. There's a school nearby, so there might be kids. Maintaining my position, checking my mirrors. I'm in 4th gear, so I can stay like that. There's nothing that'll come in. Moving over slightly to the left because that vehicle was on my side of the road due to somebody parking. I have a van coming up, so I'm going to move over to the right slightly. I want to ideally leave a car door width between me and any parked vehicles. You can't always do it, but if you can, do. So maintaining, trying to get across. I'm not going to fit between that van and the cars coming this way, so I've come in, put my clutch down, brake down. I'm in 1st gear now, waiting for a gap in the traffic because it's my obstruction, which means they have priority. Checking my mirrors, moving out, finding my bike point and going. Clutch down into 2nd. Clutch down into 3rd. Watching the bus, he might pull out suddenly. And wide. Come out round the Corsa. I'm still in 3rd gear. I'm doing 20 miles an hour. I can get through this. I'm coming up to these lights. I want to turn right, so I'm going to clutch down, start to brake, put my right indicator on. I've come out of gear into 1st. Lights are red, handbrake up, knock it out of neutral. Knock it out of gear into neutral. As soon as it starts to turn orange, I'm into 1st gear, find my bike point, handbrake down, off we go. Keeping an eye in front of me for people turning, clutch down into 2nd. Keeping an eye out the other directions for police cars and emergency vehicles. Come round. I am in 2nd gear. Checking that nobody's going to come across the zebra crossing. They aren't. I'm going into 3rd gear. I'm going to position myself in the middle of this road because there's parked cars on the left and there's going to be nothing coming because there's a central reservation there. So I'm going to stick, I'm in 3rd gear, I'm going to clutch down and into 4th. Making sure I'm middle in the road, checking, keeping an eye out for anything that could jump out at me. Checking my mirrors, are there any cyclists? It's a 30 road, it also has quite a camber being that it's on a slum. So you do have to be careful and you might have to steer out of that the opposite direction. So this one goes down on the driver's side, so you might need to steer more to the passenger side. I'm coming out round, I'm heading towards the M5. So I'm going to indicate right and move into the 3rd lane. I'm going to clutch down and I'm going to go into 3rd gear. Still got my indicator on. I'm going to follow this car, I'm looking at the road, I need the M5, so I'm going to stay in this lane. Going through. I take my indicator off now because I'm in a lane that is only for the M5. I clutch down and into 1st, find my bike point, pull off, clutch down 2nd, clutch down 3rd, checking my mirrors, making sure there's nothing going to come up the inside of me, making sure there's no motorcycles, all of that fun stuff. Clutch down into 4th, pulling away, checking my mirrors, is there anybody beside me? Because I know I'm going to have to do a lane switch up in a minute. So we're continuing round, coming round, and we get dropped onto this horrible road. You've got 4 lanes. Left-hand lane is for the M5, M49 and M4. I want to be over. So I want to head towards the M5 southwest, so I need to be in this lane or the right-hand lane. So M49, M4 west is the left-hand lane, M5, M4 east is the middle next lane I'm in, and the other lane. This then filters down into one lane, so I need to keep an eye on my mirrors to make sure that there's nobody going to be filtering past me. There's not, so I'm going to take a more central lane in the road. I am going to be going on a motorway, which you will not be able to do. However, it's good for you to see. So we're coming around the corner, I'm braking a little bit because the car in front of me is braking also. I'm in 5th gear at this point. We're all good and we're moving along happy. We're at 40 miles an hour. I'm keeping an eye on the distance between me and the car in front because this bit can suddenly just slam your brakes on. It's just the way it is. So we've come out and we're in a filter lane, but this one remains a lane. So I'm at 50 miles an hour. I have 6 gears on my car, so I'm going into 6th gear. Now I need to watch out for this filter lane because people will be coming along the left hand side wanting to get into this lane like that white car in front. I've just made sure there's enough room for people to get in and out behind me. So I'm in 6th gear, I'm monitoring the cars around me, keeping an eye on this lorry that he might suddenly want to come off and get into my lane, because this is the slow lane. But this lane in a minute goes into a filter lane of itself to come off the motorway. So the big bridge that you can see coming up with the sides, that's called a gantry. The little black squares above the arrows, that's for variable speed limits. Variable speed limits mean that it's not a set speed limit and it will depend on the circumstances. So if there's lots of traffic or congestion, that will get put down to whatever speed somebody in an office somewhere thinks is acceptable. It's normally 50, but occasionally you do get 30 on the motorway, especially if there's been a crash. So if you see on the white lines, I've got a solid white line to my left, and then I've got a dashed white line, but they're long. That means you can pass either way, backwards and forwards as you wish. In a minute, you can see now that I'm in a lane and there's an arrow off towards the services, Portbury and the A369. As I come under this gantry, you'll notice the white line on the right hand side turns into little white squares with brakes in it. That means this is a separate lane and you can't just continue straight on. So I'm at 55 miles an hour, still in 6th gear, and I'm just cruising along. Now I can see now there's a bit of a queue, so I'm going to look in my mirrors, make sure nobody's behind me too close, start to brake down. I come in 5th gear, I'm still braking, clutch down into 4th gear, I'm still braking, clutch down into 3rd gear, I'm still braking because there's still something coming. So brake down, clutch down into 2nd, clutch up using the engine brake, still braking with my foot brake as well though, and I've come to a stop. So I've put my car into 1st gear, I'm on a hill, so I'm going to handbrake on. When things start to move in front of me, I'm going to find my bite point, release my handbrake and start crawling forward. So I'm going to be taking this, I don't know if you can see the signage, but I'm going to be taking the 2nd left exit. 2nd exit to the left. So there's one that's a services, which will be your initial left. And then you've got another left, which is what I want. And that will then split down into 2 lanes. I know I want to be in the left-hand lane, so I'm going to come round the corner to the left. This is all things that you'll learn when you're driving more or driving by yourself. When you pass your test, you'll get to know your little routes and where you've got to be and how you've got to be doing it. So I find my bite point, off I go. Release handbrake, 1st gear, clutch down 2nd gear. So I'm not going to indicate because otherwise that lorry might think I'm going to services. Clutch down 3rd gear. Start indicating off to the left. Now I'm going to see that this lane splits into 2 lanes. I need to stay to the left. So still keeping to the left, making sure I'm central. I've got traffic lights. Are they green? Those ones are red, that's to turn right, but my ones are green, so I'm going to continue going. I'm in 3rd gear at the minute. I'm going to clutch down and into 4th, checking my mirrors, making sure there's nothing coming up beside me. There's some green lights ahead, but I'm going to go up into 5th gear. If I have to stop, I can stop in that distance. They're going to orange, so clutch down, brake, into 4th, clutch up, still braking, clutch down into 3rd, still braking, clutch up, clutch down into 2nd, clutch up, clutch down into 1st gear. So I've come to the lights, taken it out of neutral, find my bite point, off we go. In 1st gear, found your bite point, check there's no cyclist, clutch down into 2nd, checking my mirrors, how close is everybody, clutch down into 3rd gear, keeping an eye on my mirrors, making sure nothing's going on, clutch down into 4th gear, making sure I'm centering the road, going up to 40, so I'm going to clutch down and into 5th gear. This road's a 50, so I can continue going. Making sure I'm central, keeping an eye on my mirrors. Are there any emergency vehicles, cyclists, motorcyclists, whatever. My car can do 6th gear, so I'm going to clutch down and into 6th. Maintaining a centre line in the road, making sure I'm on my side of the road. Keep checking my mirrors. Is there anything there? Continue round, making sure I'm central. I'm doing just below 50 miles an hour. So I'm going to go stay as I am, just keeping my position, checking my mirrors, keeping an eye out for people that might be jumping out of different places. Triangular signs like that one there is a warning. Horses for 2 miles. Round red circles mean you have to follow it. It's a direction. This is a 40. So it has to be chucked down into 40. So I'm going to brake and come into 5th gear. Yellow one, a zigzag like that means that there is a high bend in the road, probably 2 bends, making it a bit of a zigzag. So it's a 40, so I'm going to remain at 40. I am going to slow down because I know this is a bit of a dangerous turn. I'm keeping over to the left side more in case anybody comes around the corner on my side of the road. I've also seen quite a few crashes here, so always slow down a bit. Then I come up, clutch down into 4th gear because I lost a bit of speed, but that's alright. Checking for people coming out of those side roads, checking my mirrors, maintaining my position on the road. I've got somebody with their hazards on. I'm making an obstruction. Everybody's moving over so I can get over and come out the way. Had they not, I would have had to have come to a stop and waited for a break in the traffic. So I'm in 4th gear. I'm going to go up to 5th gear. So clutch down into 5th, checking my mirrors. Maintaining my position in the road, keep making sure that I'm doing what I'm doing. Checking my mirrors. Keeping checking my mirrors. So 30, that black camera means speed camera. So I'm going to drop down from 5th gear into 4th gear. Keeping rolling, keeping an eye out for cyclists, making sure there's nothing in behind me in my mirrors. We're down to 30 miles an hour. So we've got another warning sign. That's one means no 7.5 ton vehicles. We've got some traffic jams. I'm clutch down into 3rd gear, use my engine brake and my foot brake. Clutch down into 2nd, lift up, brake down. Are we going to crawl in 2nd or am I going to need 1st? I'm going to need 1st. So clutch down into 1st and we're just going to crawl. I'm going to keep an eye behind me because there might be cyclists or emergency vehicles. I'll still maintain my position in the road. I'm not going to move it right over like that white Peugeot has, but you could do, and just in case emergency vehicles. But because I check my mirror so often, that was clutched down into 2nd gear. Because I keep an eye on my mirrors, I've got more than enough time to see and hear a emergency vehicle coming, and I could then move out the way. So I don't quite know what that blue van's doing, but we will see. So I am going to get over here because I know that it's a tight corner, and if you get a bus or a lorry, they have to come on your side of the road to get out. So I'm going to position myself close to the wall so that they've got room to come through as I'm now stopped. So I've clutched down, handbrake on, knocked it into neutral. My car does have stop start, but I have removed that for this journey. So it would be as your car would be. There is temporary traffic lights up ahead, and that is what this situation will be causing. So we're starting to move, so clutch down into 1st. I'm on a hill, so I'm going to find my bite point. I've got my bite point, I'm going to release my handbrake and start pulling off slowly. We've got a bit of a gap. You're going to make it, so foot on, clutch down, foot on the brake. Find my bite point again, and off we go. Checking my mirrors, clutch down 2nd. Checking my mirrors, clutch down 3rd. Starting to come to a stop again, so brake, clutch down into 2nd. It looks like there's been a crash or an accident. So we're going to stick to the right. Find my bite point. Come round the obstruction. Looks like he's got a blown out tyre. unfortunate place to break down, but also quite a good place to break down because the road is quite wide, and because of the traffic lights it's going to be moving slowly. There could be worse places, there are worse places, but they're still not great. If you ever break down, just remember you've got to get to the left. Try and get out of the flow of traffic if you can. Now I'm at a stop. Oh no, we're going to start again. So I'm going to brake, find my bike point, handbrake down, move forward. Just going to coast for a minute. You won't do that. Not going to get any further. So brake, clutch down, knock it out of gear, handbrake on. And I can see a couple of cars in front of the car I can see and behind starts to move. I will then ready myself to move. So they're all starting to move now, so I'm going to put it into first gear. I'm going to put my hand on the handbrake. I'm going to check beside me for anybody that might want to come up the inside. I can't see anything. So I'm going to find my bike point because they're all starting to move off. Find my bike point and off we go. Checking my mirrors, clutch down second. Checking my mirrors, clutch down third. Still rolling at 20, we're going to be coming to a stop, so I'm going to clutch down, brake, and down into second. We're going to get stopped, so clutch down, brake, into first. Pull up a little bit to find my bike point to pull me up a bit closer. Brake down, handbrake on, into neutral. We'll just sit in this traffic. I'll keep an eye behind me for emergency vehicles. Through this area they probably put their sirens on as well, especially this time of night, so that you could prepare and move over, because I don't know if you're able to see, but the wall to the right hand side of me is concrete, so there is no bit where the people on the other side can go. However, if it came to it, we could bump the curb on this side. There are some cars that would not be able to bump the curb, something being lowered. You always do it slowly and carefully, but we'll go through that at some point. So they're starting to move, so I'm going to clutch down into first, find my bike point, release my handbrake. Did you see the bump come up then? So found my bike point, clutch down into second, checking my mirrors. Got a speed camera coming up, it's a 40, so I'm all good. Clutch down into third. Everyone's starting to brake, so I'm going to brake, check my mirrors, clutch down into second. Pull up, still not going to be able to go, so clutch down into first. Still not going to go, so I'm not going to be able to creep. So brake, come to a stop, knock it out of gear, handbrake on, feet off the pedals. So I've got a motorcycle coming beside me, there he goes in front of me, and that's why you check your mirrors. Because you won't always hear them before they appear at the side of you, and that's how so many people have accidents with motorcycles. So I'm keeping an eye ahead and in my mirrors. When the traffic on the other side stops, I know the temporary lights up there have turned red, so then I'll start to ready myself to move. So there's nothing there now, so I'm not going to be able to see. But I'll keep an eye for the amber light. There it is. So clutch down into first. Find my bike point. Handbrake down. Off we go. Checking my mirrors. Are there any bikes coming round the traffic lights and back onto my position in the road? Clutch down into third. Check my mirrors. Clutch down into fourth. Keep an eye out for anything coming out of all these little side roads. Pedestrians, keeping an eye out, check my mirrors, clutch down into fifth. keep an eye out. Is that van going to stay? The pedestrian is going to stay. Now this splits into two. You've got a filter lane to turn right. I want to go straight on, so I'm going to remain in the left-hand lane. I've got traffic lights. They are on green. I'm going to be prepared to stop, but not come to a stop. They're going to stay green, so off we go through. Straight on through, maintaining my position in the road, doing 40. So I'm going to come up in a minute and there's going to be another 2 lanes. Left-hand lane leads to Clifton Suspension Bridge. Right-hand lane is where I want to go. So I'm going to come across into the right-hand lane. Did you see how this has got thick white lines on both sides? No breaks in it. It's a solid white line. That means you cannot cross on it, so you cannot overtake at this part. However, if there was a broken down vehicle, then obviously you would have to overtake technically to get past it. So I put my handbrake on, clutch down, put my bike point, handbrake down, start to pull off. Somebody's got themselves stuck and cannot remember that there's a thingy there. Because they've been asses, I'm not letting them in. I'm going to pull ahead. Right, he is going to have to come in front of me because somebody wants to way behind me. Clutch down into second, foot on the brake, we're starting to come to a stop. Clutch down into first. Handbrake on, out of gear. So, red signs with a red circle, you have to follow. It is a statement as such. That means 30 miles an hour, maximum speed limit. Thick white lines, like you can hopefully see, I'm not sure because you're up on my dash. Solid white lines. No crossing unless a broken down vehicle or maybe a cyclist, but you shouldn't. You should sit behind the cyclist until you're over that part. So handbrake, clutch into first, find bike point, off we go. Clutch down into second, checking my mirrors for cyclists. Clutch down into third. I'm going to watch what people are doing. Where does everybody want to go? Keeping an eye on my mirrors as we go. I'm going to stay in third gear because there's a little side switch here that people like to jump out on, and there's can also be quite a bit of traffic. I've got quite a few brake lights, so I'm going to start slowing down. This is a 30, I'm in third and I'm going downhill. We're braking. People don't know what's going on. So that red triangle is a warning. It's a warning of surface water. That means there might be flooding on the road. Red circle, no left turn. Warning, zigzags, reduce your speeds. You see these arrows? It means a sharp corner. The more there are, the sharper the corner, in theory. So we're coming down. I've got my foot on the, just above the brake for if I need it. Slow down a little bit, brake down, because don't know what's coming around the corner. Nothing coming, and a clutch down into fourth. Back up, braking a little bit, because I've got another corner coming up and I don't know what's around there. We're all good, so I'm coming off the brake, accelerating out of the corner. Keeping an eye on my mirrors continuously. I just don't want to keep saying it for you, but I do check my mirrors about every 3 seconds. So it's 30, got a little 30 speed camera with traffic enforcement. This blue sign here is the clean air zone. It means that there's a quarter of a mile ahead, there is a clean air zone. We're going down into 20, so I'm going to clutch down and up into third. Keep my position in the road, making sure I'm ready to stop because there is a pedestrian at the lights and that car might pull out in front of me. They're not, so I'm going to come around the corner slowly. I know there's a roundabout. I'm going to take the second exit. So I'm going to stay over to the right of my lane, checking in all my mirrors for cyclists and motorcycles. but I'm going to stay in this lane because I want to go round and under, second exit, straight ahead. So I'm going to clutch down into second, check nothing coming, off on the clutch, carry on going. I won't indicate here because it's only one way you can go really. Clutch down into third. Slowing down because there can be traffic here. Getting ready to come to a stop, but there isn't actually a traffic jam here for once. There is a cyclist, however, so I'm going to stay over to the right. I'm going to try and I need to give him 1.5 meters distance between me and him when passing. So I'm going to brake and come down on my clutch. This is a horrible junction, so I'm looking to the left for anything coming my way. There's nothing coming in my lane, so biting, pointing off. I'm going to indicate left because I'm going to come round this way, towards Ashton Gate Stadium. Indicator off because I do want to come across, but I will wait until it's a bit straighter and I can see what's going on. Also, some of these cars might turn in left and I might be able to jump in their space. They are not, so I'm going to slow down a little bit, put my indicator on, look and check my mirrors, bind and make sure there's nothing coming, and I've slotted in to where I need to be. At this roundabout coming up, I want to be taking the second exit straight ahead, so I'm going to brake, clutch down from third into second, crawl along, see what's happening. Am I going to get across? Is there anything coming? No, there's nothing coming. So now I'm going to indicate left to come off, up into third gear. I'm going to creep along in third gear, but I'm not going to get there because of the traffic jams. I can brake, clutch down into second. Check my mirrors, there's a motorcyclist, so I'm going to pull over to the left a little bit. Allow her through. Now she's gone through, I'm going to find my bike point and start moving and position myself better in the road again because there might be a cyclist that wants to use the cycle lane. Clutch down into second. I'm not going to speed up because I'm just going to get stuck in traffic, so I'm just going to sit in second gear at 20 miles an hour. Going to come off the accelerator a little bit, clutch down, brake into first. Find my bike point, start to move. Checking my mirrors, clutch down into second. This is a funny one. I'm heading straight up towards Bedminster, but it's like a mini roundabout with a big roundabout, but it's not really a roundabout, but it is. So I need to be in the left-hand lane. I don't need to indicate because it's all laned, and I'm going to come straight up. I'm going to brake, clutch down, up into first gear, check there's nothing coming, find my bike point and off we go. Also not going to indicate on that roundabout because it will cause confusion. Clutch down into third gear, checking my mirrors. This next roundabout I need to be going straight over, so I need to stay in the left hand lane to do that. I'm going to check my position in the road, check my mirrors, is there anybody coming? I've slowed down, I'm at 20, I'm in third gear. There's nothing coming, so I'm going to continue on. I'm also not going to indicate because there won't be enough time and it will cause confusion. So we're coming up on loads of parked cars, but it's quite a nice wide road, so I can stay a door's width apart from them. Coming up some traffic lights with another lot of lanes. I want to be in this lane here to the left because as we come up over the breach and past the traffic lights, I need to be in the middle lane, and this is how you do it. So I'm keeping an eye on people coming out, cyclists, motorcycles, that sort of thing. We've got orange amber, so I'm going to brake down into second, up, clutch down into first, brake harder, come to a stop. Handbrake on into neutral. Keep an eye on when it's going to change. I can look for the traffic on the other side to stop or wait for the amber light. Find my brake point. Watch out for the cyclist, and off we go. He was very close, and this is how accidents happen. So I come across, no one being in this middle lane. I'm in second gear and I'm doing 20 miles an hour. I'm going to come to a stop, so brake, clutch down into first, find my bike point, and off we go. Clutch down into second. Still green, checking for cyclists, pedestrians, idiot moped drivers. going to stay over to the left because in a minute I'm going to be turning left at the next set of traffic lights. So we'll stay here, move over to the left. I don't need to indicate here because it's only one way. There's only one way you can go from in this lane, which is left. We've got green lights, so I'm going to brake a little bit just because I don't know what's going to come around the corner, but I'm good. So I'm releasing the brake on the accelerator, still in third gear. Can't quite get a door width apart on these cars because the road's not as wide, but that's okay. I'm going to go into fourth gear. Travelling along, keeping my position, checking my mirrors. Put myself out past this car a little bit. Maintaining my position in the road, checking my mirrors. Is there anything? Checking my mirrors. Watching out for people suddenly pulling out from the shops here. Staying close to the white line to avoid the cars. Now I'm coming up on a roundabout. I want to take the second exit, which is right. So I'm going to clutch down, brake into third, put my right indicator on, start to move around this looking there, left indicator and move across. I'm going to get myself central, turn my indicator off, and we've got some brakes. So I'm going to brake down a little bit. I'm going to need to go down a gear into second. So I'm into second, releasing the brake, coming up on the clutch and moving under the vehicle. Propulsion. Watching my position with the cars, making sure nobody's going to throw open a door, no kids are going to run out between them, making sure there's no motorcycles, electric scooters or cycle bikes. Coming to a stop again, so brake, clutch down into first gear because we're going to come to a complete stop. Put your handbrake on. Not going to need to find your bike point, release handbrake, off we go again. You could knock it out of gear if you wanted to at that point, but I could see he wasn't going to be long. Clutch down into third. Trying to keep the door width apart, but trying to also keep on my side of the road. But this is only a 20, so it's not so bad. Maintaining my position. I've got a red light, so brake, clutch down into second, up, clutch down into first. Come to a stop, handbrake on, knock it out of gear, release the clutch. People are starting to move, so clutch down into first gear, find your bike point, start moving. Checking mirrors. Clutch down, second. Maintaining my position in the road, keeping an eye out for kids. Checking my mirrors. Clutch down, brake, into first. Clutch up, gas down, off we go again. Checking mirrors. Clutch down, second. Clutch down, third. Maintaining my position on the road, watching that car's not going to come out too much. Checking the pedestrian crossing, keeping an eye out, seeing we're going to come to a stop, so begin to brake, check my mirrors, clutch down into second, clutch up. Keeping an eye on my mirrors, just seeing what's happening. Cruising along in second, I want to go right, so I'm going to put my right indicator on. Nobody at the zebra crossing, nobody coming my way, my go. My priority, coming round, left indicator. Watching my position in the cars, coming round. This is very narrow here. Two big cars like me can't fit through. Going slowly, going close to the cars but not too close. It is tight. I wouldn't do this until you know the size of your vehicle with you, or a bit more. Right, I want to turn right, so I'm going to indicate right, check my mirrors. There's something coming, so I'm going to clutch down into first gear, continue crawling. She's going to go past, checking there's nothing in my way and turning. Coming up the hill, clutch down into second. Checking my mirrors, making sure that nobody's about, no cyclists. I'm going to come up on Dom's house, so I'm going to brake, clutch down, indicate first gear, pull in and up on the curb. Clutch down into reverse. I'm not going to say how I do that because yours will be different. Then I'm reversing back, turning the wheel the opposite direction that I want the vehicle to go. That is my rear parking sensor. You won't have that, but that's what that alarm is. So I'm trying to tuck myself in quite high on the curb because they drive like idiots around here. So clutch down into reverse, tuck myself up a bit tighter. I need to wait and get that as close as possible because there is limited parking here. And that, my dear, is my drive home. Hopefully I can send this. If not, I'll Bluetooth it to you when I get back.